Dr. Tony Fauci kept a diary. Pandemic diary entries have been released to the public ahead of his Senate testimony on Wednesday.
Senate Homeland Security Committee Chairman Rand Paul releasing excerpts he says show Fauci embracing his rise to fame and focusing on his public image during the pandemic. In one 2020 entry, he wrote, quote, "It is not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable person in the world."
In another 2020 entry, he wrote, quote, "I spoke with Bill de Blasio and convinced him based on what I was saying publicly in my conversation tonight to close the New York City schools." 2 years later, though, Fauci claims he never told public officials to lock down the schools.
First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. You're asking me questions. You're talking about the CDC is the public health agency that uses their epidemiologists and their science-based approach to make recommendations.
Joining us now, journalist and author Alex Berenson, who was right about COVID, unlike Tony Fauci. Alex, I called Tony Fauci multiple times for a couple of years a contemptible, partisan, spotlight-seeking, power-hungry hack. And that would be fine if he wasn't in charge of COVID policy that destroyed the nation's children and set us back even financially for an eternity.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it turns out that you weren't, if you were wrong, it's because you didn't go far enough. I mean, to read this stuff is to realize that everything that we sort of thought from the outside about Fauci, that he was, very narcissistic, very focused on his public image, a real Democratic partisan through and through. That stuff, I mean, it's absolutely 100% true. It's in his own words. And, there's a moment when he says Trump is so enamored with me. There's another moment when he says I'm an international celebrity now. And it's all in this golly gee, look at me way. But he was reading everything written about him. He was literally cutting and pasting articles written about him into this diary. That's how in love with himself he was. But I do think there's a bigger point here, which is really important. Tony Fauci was supposed to be the chief scientific advisor to first the Trump administration, really, and then the Biden administration. In the Biden administration, his title was formalized as chief medical officer. But even in the Trump administration, I don't think anybody would disagree. He was really in charge of the response. He was giving advice to the governors. He was giving advice to the White House. He was giving advice everywhere. And this is a man who spent so much time on his public image and in political fights that he really was not up to date on the science in the way that he should have been. For a guy who said, I am science. And that's what's missing from his diary is look, I lived those details. I wrote everything I could write about COVID for 3 years. I read everything I could read about the vaccines, about the epidemiology, about everything else. Very, very little of that makes its way into Tony Fauci's diary, and it's really stunning.
Hey, Alex, I want to get you, this is kind of a gear shift, but I want to get you as well on this. We've been talking about Mamdani's pied-à-terre letters, okay, who they're going to, names being published. I understand that your mother received one of these, and it's rather odd because she actually lives in New York City full time. It's not a pied-à-terre. What's the deal with them sending all these menacing letters to regular residents?
Well, clearly they didn't bother to check and see who, they didn't, I can only assume they didn't look at New York State driving records. They didn't see who'd paid city tax the last, 30 years in the case of my mother. So she and my father bought a townhouse. This was 30 years ago. They didn't spend millions and millions of dollars on it. I think it was actually less than $1 million. It's a very nice piece of property that they've spent their, they spent their, older adult lives fixing and making nice. My father died a few years ago, and my mother still lives there and has lived there her whole, essentially this whole second half of her adult life. and has no other residence. So for the city to be saying, you owe us $56,000,
Yeah.
she called me the other day. She was quite upset about this.
Yeah.
Alex, we got to jump. They're scaring the old ladies.
Right.